Yes, we're here. How exciting. Emuna is our future with soul. Today we are Emuna with our future with soul. Welcome everybody. Our weekly class of Emuna is our future focus. To focus in. That's the challenge of a generation like ours, to focus. Everything going on around us, all the noise and action. This year in the fiscal calendar 2020 started off with a lot of action. So that's even more reason to focus in Shovavim, in Tafshin Pei in the Jewish calendar. Wow, what a time already. So we're already in the second Parshat Vayera. We're talking about the 7 plagues and this beautiful connection between Moshe Rabbeinu, the Jewish people, and Hashem, our Creator. And that's one of the foundations with Emuna is our future, to tune in to that intrinsic Emuna. And that is a very big part of everything we are doing here. Everything is about Emuna and our soul. Our souls. How to really tune in the influence on our soul in daily life in a practical, real, spiritual, and obviously once again based on the teachings of Rav Shalom Arush. We are sitting in his beautiful institute Chesed with a lot of appreciation. We thank Rav Arush for allowing this to take place, this platform, and creating such an awareness of Emunah. We hope Emunah Tour 2020 will have some announcements as the year is slowly taken off after last year's wonderful tour, Emunah Tour 2019. This year already we have some big interest from South Africa. South Africa is somewhere I personally would love to visit. My soulmate is from there originally, Cape Town. I'd love to go to Joburg, Cape Town, and any other place there that's welcoming. And it's once again up to you guys. We already have some interest, and we'll speak about it more once it's confirmed. And then we have UK potentially still being discussed, and a trip. Big news. I've never been there, and this is a whole other side of the world, India. And that's something which, let's see if that comes together. And another place in Emuna Tour 2020 is North America already. But Atlanta we haven't been to, as far as I know, for many years. Personally, I've never been there. To Atlanta, I'd love to visit. And you're keeping in touch, get in contact. The information's below. And the ones who are in touch, keep being in touch. And we appreciate your invite. Looking to be October, November time, as we did last year, that kind of time of year, with Toronto beginning the tour, and possibly Atlanta. Isn't that exciting? And some other new places. Let's see how it all develops. Los Angeles and New York's already reached out again, and we're looking forward. This exciting potential for Emuna Tour 2020 with Rav Shalom Arush. It should be well, and please God, we'll go together with all our other wonderful teachers here. Now, what is the other big news? Is tomorrow night. We're recording this live, but for people who are watching it online after it's edited and everything else, it might be out the next day or two. So that will be Wednesday night, the 22nd of February. Rabbi Yonatan Galed, Rabbi Yonatan, Rabbi Galed, Yonatan Galed is speaking in English for the first time in Israel, and Tel Aviv inspired, or the other way around, inspired Tel Aviv. We want to inspire Tel Aviv with the organization Inspired Tel Aviv, together with Rabbi Yonatan. Please tune in to all our channels and platforms. Please God, we'll try be there, hopefully with the weather allowing and all the traffic, with Prince Charles coming to town and Putin and the Holocaust Memorial and everything kicking off. Hopefully make it there from Jerusalem to Tel Aviv tomorrow night without too much of a hitch. And it should be hopefully going live around 9 p.m. Israel time. Let's hope that works out. Okay, that's exciting. Yes, that's exciting news for Emuna Tour 2020. And we hope that's just the beginning for Rabbi Yonatan, because we are putting up now and pushing out there the 8th class of his Emuna series of Universal Garden of Emuna. And it's a tremendous opportunity. We also want to thank Rav Yes, Rav Dayan. He's a Dayan. His name is not Dayan. He is a judge, a Jewish judge. Rav Dayan, the Dayan Elgrad. His name is Rabbi Elgrad, but it's Rav Dayan Elgrad. That's how we're putting it out there. So you just give the proper respect as a Dayan. And we want to thank him. His daily halakha classes, very, very important, giving us a lot of clarity. And we'd also like to do a emunah tour with him. And also we're here together. Emunah is our future, and we're discussing, please God, with many guests, and not just on the physical level, not just like Gedalia Offense and all these wonderful people. We're talking about souls are visiting, souls. We have the guests, the spiritual guests, and that's today's class. And this week's class is trying to get a little bit more into our soul and how it can be a point of reference for our practical daily life. So let's start. Let's first understand a very deep concept that the Baal HaTanya, it's his Yahrzeit today, the 24th of Teves, and it also happens to be Rabbi Dessler and Hashem Shmuel. I'm named after Rabbi Dessler, Eliezer Dessler. I'm named after him, very holy person, a very deep thinker, and someone who was meritorious to have, they say, after his deep class, from the Baal HaTanya. He used to give a class on a weekly level in Gateshead, and it's something which I'm sure was very deep in the Tanya, and the Baal HaTanya himself would come visit Rabbi Dessler on a nightly level to discuss the learnings. His soul would come, the neshama not Rabbi Dessler, would come to Rabbi Dessler from the Baal HaTanya, Rav Shneur Zalman of Liadi. Shneur Zalman of Liadi would visit Rabbi Dessler and inspire and clarify these deep teachings. So we're going to go a little bit into that since it's the day, it's the Yahrzeit special day, Parshat Vayera. We're going to go a little bit into what is this soul experience. When you learn Torah, we see from the beautiful picture we posted together with this video, we see this connection to Torah, that really has to be where all these spiritual understandings have to come from. That's the source. It's in the Talmud, in the Zohar, in the Tanya, in the Rabbi Nachman's Sfarim, and all the other beautiful Sfarim, the Garden of Emuna series. It all has to be sourced. Everything has a place. And this concept of the soul visiting a person is very, very deep. And it's a little bit beyond this 20-minute or so slot to really get into explaining how there's different levels of the soul and technically breaking everything down. That's, thank God, been done very thoroughly by the Tanya. And you can go to Tanya Shirim or some deep breasts of rabbis who have time and listeners for hours of Shirim, like Rabbi Maimon and all these kind of wonderful Talmid Chachamim that we have in the world now. What I'm going to do just in short is just give you a little bit of a journey, personally, I feel that I've had those moments in my little journey in this world where souls have come on, on a mystical level, but also on a practical level, and assisted me, because it's a little bit unexplainable that someone who grew up in North London and wasn't at all affiliated to Judaism other than a little bit of tradition. I mean, I had wonderful parents, wonderful family around me and community, but I didn't have the foundations of Judaism, of what Torah mitzvahs is. I didn't have that. And to be able to have an experience where suddenly I was able to do mitzvahs in a very, spiritual setting and hopefully achieve some amazing results on a high level. Not that I was on a high level, but just the way it worked out, the experience of learning in the wee hours of the morning and the wee hours of the night, and being connected to holy, righteous people that have been doing this their whole life. And suddenly I come in after, being involved with nightclubs and, crazy things in the world, and watching hours and hours and hours of TV and movies and all these other things. You have to list everything I've done, but that's the general secular experience, for most young kids. And nowadays it's compounded by the phones and connection to the whole world on a daily level through the internet, through crazy apps like TikTok, and this constant compounding of distraction, information, and all kinds of sensations, and so we all know that's what's going on even more now. So that was my upbringing, and then suddenly I could sit with righteous people and be able to learn Torah for hours and experience new awareness and awakenings. Like this Shabbos, I was by Nachlaot. It's a part of Yerushalayim, Jerusalem, and as part of my unity inspires concepts and focus, I felt like I witnessed such an aliyah from a friend of mine, Alex Clare. He's a famous musician. To see him run his shul, he has a shul there, and run the whole Shabbos with davening and learning, and to watch a guy who came from the music business as well, like even more intense, and yet he's able to like be so spiritual and so clear in his davening and his learning and the way he leads the davening and learning. He gives over beautiful stories. He even spoke about, things that, like, I was like, wow, this is like amazing. Like, he's speaking about such a deep musag, such a deep understanding of spirituality, like in this concept that we're talking about now, Ibo Neshama. He told a story from the Baal Shem Tov, and you start to understand that people can come from, including myself, and I'll talk for myself now, like from so far, and yet be able to enter into realms of mitzvahs and spirituality that shouldn't, like on a realistic level, work out. I mean, yeah, we have a soul and Hashem can do anything. We believe in our soul, but to have it, manifest like in real changes, like we spoke about this whole idea of Baalet Tshuva and guiding Baalet Tshuva, like how can it be that this reality exists that someone who was, in the army, and he wasn't even religious at all, of Shalom Arush, and he went to university and all this and that, and then suddenly, as you read in the Garden of Emunah book, like in the Universal Garden of Emunah book, he suddenly becomes this holy, righteous, spiritual leader for our generation, and is someone who people turn to in thousands, and able to have, experienced his holiness, and it's like such a transformation from this to that. Fine, it's been over years, but still, like it's such a unbelievable switch of focus and really the truth we said before, that really a person ultimately is elevating everything from before. So his whole unified experience is picking up everything he went through there. Now those stories are inspiring, and now that journey there, that music, that experience, that teaching that he learned in that other lifestyle can now be lifted up, and all those experiences lifted up, and all those places, and all that food and drink, and all the people he was with. Everything can really be elevated, and that's something which, once again, is a soulful thing. Like, how does it happen? So this can be simply answered in a very deep way, that the HaTanya explains. There's a concept called Ibo Neshama, that neshamas come and help you. Righteous neshamas, they've already got their tikkun, they're fine. Those neshamas, those righteous souls, they don't need, souls and neshamas are one thing, just so you make sure you understand that they don't need to fix anymore. They don't need this tikkun olam anymore. They already become the level of tzaddikim gemurim, of completely righteous people. They've done their mission in this world, let's say. But they're here now, coming down to us on certain levels. When we learn the Torah, we do mitzvahs, and we're involved with the power of the soul, and we're empowering our soul through Torah mitzvahs. They come and assist us. So then someone like me can be sitting at a Gemara, and I'm like, I don't know Aramaic, this is a struggle Bat Shiva goes through. I don't know how to, translate the words even, or even then, even if I understand how to translate, start to understand Aramaic, and I'm using an art scroll, this and that, different ways to help you, or you're breaking your head on it, whatever it is, and you're trying to understand what does this mean, or you're just trying to pray for Masida and you don't even say the words right. It's clear, his Dybbuk, the way he davened the Shabbos was amazing. But this was like, for me personally, it's such a struggle. And I'm sure many Baalet Tshuva go through this, like how to really understand, shiurim in Yiddish. Like tzaddikim speak, a lot of tzaddikim, righteous people in this generation. You go to their, special tishim and shuls, and they're speaking in Yiddish, and you want to understand it. So like, how are you gonna? So thank God, personally, after years and years, suddenly the Yiddish starts to make sense. Suddenly the Gemara opens up, and you start to understand the Gemara. Like we're on the Daf Yomi. This happens to be my third cycle, so we're going around again, Shas. And it starts to open up, and I'm learning with my son, and start to see, wow, I can take this journey the next level. And same with prayer service, same with Birkas Hamazon, and same with Shabbos. You start to get new ideas just by being part of a Shabbos experience. Like I was with all kinds of Jews at Shabbos in Nachlot, very like mixed environment in a good way, and you get this opportunity to just enter into the oneness of the Jewish soul and realize that you're getting help from somewhere. It's coming. So this is the answer that the HaTanya was hinting at in his holy Sefer the Tanya, and on his Yahrzeit, in his merit, we'll try to understand it a little bit. The souls are assisting us. Rabbi Nachman, was someone who constantly was working on his holy level with souls. with holy souls. He was bringing them to him somehow. Not that we understand these concepts. And every night he was busy with masakin neshamas and souls. That's one of the reasons why he's buried in Uman. Why is it Rabbi Nachman buried in Uman? Because he's fixing up the 20,000 martyrs or more that were buried in that graveyard in Uman, and he chose to be part of that place and to elevate all those souls, or they chose him. What do we understand in these concepts? But the idea is that he was busy with souls. Some tzaddikim are meritorious to connect with souls in this world. And for us, we don't even know that this is happening, but there is movies and things out there. We should break this a little bit of focus on Dybbuk, this Dybbuk concept. There is a reality of that, and our rabbis talk about it. Generally, that's a negative experience, like a soul that's a little bit deranged and how it expresses itself. There's some tikkun of shmur soloshin or some sort of, something that was wrong with the mouth, and it comes into these people and takes over the body and starts making, wild sounds and crazy things and freaking people out. There's movies about this, that, and, Svarim talk about it, and there are people who've removed Dybbuk. And this idea, Dybbuk is this idea of connect, a soul connects, a lost soul that was roaming the world. So there are, and there are even movies recently about how there's some souls who come to people in the world generally and are helping them fix certain things up, and they're aware that something took over them, but they don't really understand it. And there's these concepts are going around and around. So why am I talking about it? Once again, my wife did say, this is a deep subject, you have to be careful, but I'm saying this as a disclaimer. I don't really know and understand this concept truly, but I do know that all of us are being influenced on a soul level by these righteous souls who are coming and assisting us. So when we do the mitzvah of kibbud av v'em, we honor our parents, as it says in a famous ma'aser from tzaddikim. I think it's brought down by the Yiddish Kodesh. The one time the Yiddish Kodesh was able to see in a Gemara shir that there was a student there, and he suddenly went out and he went off and he had to do something for his family, and he did the mitzvah. He helped his mother with the trash or whatever it was. She was a yisoma. She was a divorcee or an alman or something like that. She didn't have her husband to help her, so he went out, on a fixed basis to go help her with something, and then came back. The rabbi, the Yiddish Kodesh, was sitting there trying to understand a Gemara, didn't understand it. Came the soul of a buyer into his mind and enlightened his mind. The buyer also was an orphan, didn't have a father and mother at all, and that's one of the Rosh Teves of his name. Didn't have this, and he's this Heilige rabbi from the Gemara, Mora, came to the Yiddish Kodesh and enlightened him, so he'd understand the text, and he saw that where did this soul suddenly come into the room? In the merit of this boy who'd went out to go honor his mother in a way that nobody else could, and then enlighten him to understand the Gemara, the Talmud. So this is the kind of stories that that tzaddikim would experience on a daily level, that souls would come, righteous souls, and give them the strength, give them the power to become more spiritual and enlivened in this world. And how does this relate now? Right now we're in the Parshat of Vayera. So there's these 7 plagues coming into the world and smashing all the different klippos, all these different forces, these external forces controlling the souls of the world, of the Egyptian Empire and the world at that time, and all these slave masters that were inflicting the Jewish people, these distractions and craziness, inflicting the Jewish people and the world from being less spiritual and less inspired. It came these 7 plagues and slowly undid these messed up 7 sayings of creation and purified them and cleaned them. And just like it was a hit to the Egyptians, it was a purification of the Jewish people. Each one was a refuah, as it says in the Gemara, was a healing. And that power comes in. There's forces Hashem's giving into the world to assist us to spiritualize ourselves. And they have 7 points of reference. One way we know, obviously, is the 7 commandments of the ultimate 10 commandments, which is manifest through all the 10 plagues, which we'll finish off next week and we'll talk more about in the coming weeks of this Shovavim time period. But the concept of these forces coming to help us become who we truly are, that basically we're getting divine assistance. That's what I'm trying to say. We have a soul and there's divine assistance. It can come through plagues hitting the world and undoing our connection in a negative way to the world so we become more free, more soulful. Or it can come through righteous tzaddikim who come and assist us. Or it can come through us just wanting so much, like Rav Arush talks about, wanting in his new book, in the Or Chodesh, in the New Light, wanting so much to be connected to Hashem, this rutzin, this will. And this divine will then arouses the divine will above. And right now we see a lot of divine will above. There's just so much rain pouring on this country, Baruch Hashem. It's just pouring and the weather conditions, and we can get like a little bit, like I'm feeling a bit crusty. I'm healthy, thank God. I'm out of healing, but at the same time, like it's like pounding on me, and I don't have a car personally for whatever reason. I just prefer to walk, and I like the exercise and the freedom of going and learning on the way, and all the different things I can do, network. And then we have this intense weather going on in this winter, suddenly in the Holy Land, but it's really divine blessing. It's really a lot of bracha for this land. It's bringing so much shefa, and we have to look at things of a more soulful outlook. That's understanding that we're essentially, this is the point, the real point of this whole class. That's why you have to really listen to the whole thing. That essentially we are souls. And all these different forces from Hashem, from oneness, remember, it all comes from one. Never get fixated on these 7 divine emanations. But remember that all those divine emanations are one. Simply, everything is, Echad Parshat is oneness. And that's a Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Shem Echad. Those 6 words are connected to Shema Yisrael as the first 2 parshas of Shovavim. Shema is last week, Hashem heard our screaming. And Yisrael, we're becoming a nation. We're becoming the soul of Yisrael. And then Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, as we go through these next 6 parshas, the 6 words of Shema are manifest. B'shleimus, it's a deep concept. I thought of it myself. I think it's emes. And Tzaddikim explain the Shema is connected to these ideas with there's 42 words, and the B'koyach, Shem Mem Beis. There's deep ideas, but the point is that without going too Kabbalistic, we are sitting in Yerushalayim. We're sitting in the generation before Mashiach comes. We have the power to be soulful. We have the power to reveal Yisrael, to reveal that we have a soul. We have a soul that there's 600,000 letters in the Torah, which is connected. Each one has a connection to the Torah. And in order to learn Torah, we're going to have to honor the people in front of us. Like me and you are not going to understand each other unless there's some sort of respect. Like I said last week, you have to give feedback, but it has to be done respectfully. That in order to understand something, there has to be a basic level of respect. Communication in our generation needs to be with respect. People need to have much more forums of respect, and that will allow the real communication of the soul to come out. So then all these issues that we're seeing politically going on, all this impeachment, crazy stuff, and all this stuff going down out there in the world without getting into specifics, it's all a lack of communication from the soul. It's all about agendas and non-spiritual reasons for this. I need money, I have desires, I want this, I want that, you're in my way. It's nothing to do with the soul. If we're one people and one world, one love, and that's the true reality that HaTanya talks about so much in his Sefer. And this idea that we have one soul, and we're all really interconnected, and it's silly. If we hurt someone else, we're just hurting ourselves. It makes no sense to block someone else off from communicating, because we're one. We have to empathize, we have to have these 7 aspects that I talked about, I spoke about in the 7 habits and the 10 habits I spoke about back in the summer months. These amazing ideas of working together with people, having mission statement, win-win, and having empathy and listening to people. All these concepts that are really hidden within the 10 commandments, and these 7 plagues are undoing the false form of that. The clippers that hide the soul. That's what we have to understand. And when we're talking to people often, and this is very deep, but when you're talking to people, we'll end off on this, because it's been quite a long class, quite a deep class. But we're ending off with this concept with emunah, that when we go out and meet people, when Rav Arush is talking to someone, he's not just talking to Bob and he's John. He's Rav Shalom Arush, who's worked and tuned into the soul. So he's talking to another soul. For me, that was my biggest advice when I was midnight rabbi out all night in the streets. The rabbis used to tell me the only really way you can help a person is by tuning into the soul level. You can't really help a person physically, because then you're communicating on a very blocked surface level. They might not be in kosher, or they're not communicating from the soul level. They're not communicating from even emotionally healthy place. So then as Eckhart Tolle talks about pain bodies. They're putting out a lot of pain and negativity, God forbid. That was big time in Egypt. Everyone was getting beaten, and you see in the workforce, everyone's competing, and it's a very mitzvah Egypt experience, and suddenly the political world as well. Everyone's beating on each other and blasting and breaking news and everything. But it's all very not soulful, not sensitive, not gentle, not loving, and that's That's like part of the problem, that we're not communicating from a soulful place. We're not learning how to tune into our soul, and once again, we're not tuning into these souls, not these Dybbuk, these like negative forces. The souls of Tzaddikim are helping us. The souls of Ibo Neshama, there's a birthplace going on all the time to fix up different levels of souls going on a daily level, on our life, on a practical way to help assist us. That's the point, that we have the koyach to do. We have the strength, the ability to be a spiritual nation and to do our purpose in the world. And that with that we'll end. Everyone has that power. And there's all kinds of ways that are assisting us. We're part of Yisrael. We're part of that oneness. We're part of the ultimate souls of all the righteous people of all the generation. They're assisting us. They're praying for us. It's not just like right this moment, a small little experience of my little life and my little problems. There's a massive world of spirituality going on every moment. And that's what the HaTanya opened up the world to. This massive spiritual reality. And Rabbi Nachman opened up the power of every soul. And the Azar Malakai Ba'odi and many other things. And Rabbi Arush has honed it into emunah, that you can, by speaking to Hashem and bringing it out on a daily level. This is the power of our soul. This is the power of our generation. We should have a beautiful week. Thanks for being patient in this quite long class. Please God, next week we'll keep it more contained and specific. But I just welcome you again to Rabbi Yonathan's class tomorrow night. And if it's already, this video is posted, another time will be Wednesday the 22nd. You can tune in, it will be online. Please God, on some level, definitely the audio. Please God, hopefully some on live feed, where they're allowing and internet allowing, we'll put it out there. And please God, keep following all our series, and Emuna is our future tour. Host, be involved, partner. Thank you for listening. Have a beautiful week. Enjoy being alive. Enjoy the moment. Enjoy your soul. Lovely listening and lovely to be here. Thank you. Thank you very much.